I met you about 2, 3 years ago. We were doing a photography workshop, and I was really taken aback by your professionalism. I was really taken aback by that, and I could really see that this is an ambitious young man who's gonna go and become something. And then afterwards, I found out a little bit about your track record. Found out about the fact that you had done Mr. Teen World, and then I found out about how you're now a presenter on Yo TV, which is like two like really crazy things. But I want you to kind of tell me about your history, tell me about your family and how you got into entertainment, because the pageantry world is really tough, you know?
It's been a long journey. It's been an incredibly long journey, and a journey I thought would never take this long because I thought I would have made it many years ago. So I was telling you before all of this, I started off at the age of 11. So actually, prior to that, I grew up a very shy child, weirdly enough, compared to now, like a
How
very
old are
shy
you
child.
now, just so people know?
Ha ha, exposing my age. Imagine. No, I'm 19. I just turned 19 in May. Yeah. So at the age of 4, 5, I was outspoken to my family, but around new people, I was quite shy. So my sister was doing speech and drama at primary school. So my parents were like, okay, let's send Diolan and do this. Biggest mistake of their life, or biggest blessing, because look where we are now. But they sent me to speech and drama, and the rest is history. I fell in love with being on stage, and then as time went on, I discovered the camera and what that would do for me. But age of 11, I started auditioning, and I auditioned for a show called the International Arts Talent Showcase. That led me to America, to Disney, to Nickelodeon,
Whoa.
in Orlando, Florida. Went to New York, studied at the New York Film Academy in Los Angeles for about a
Wow.
month. Auditioned there for Disney, in front of the same casting director that did Hannah Montana, Good Luck Charlie, huge shows. So one thing led to the other, but pageantry, I just never thought I would do it, like never ever. And I had met this lady, and she said, Yolan, I want you to give this a try. And so I did. And in 2017, I won Mr. Teen World. And then my mentor at the time said, Diolan, I think it's time you do Mr. Teen World. And from there, the rest is history.
But tell me, like, how many pageants do you have to do leading up to Mr. Teen World?
I'm not entirely sure. I just did one.
You just did one.
I just did one. And many people do like years of pageantry, years and years and years. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to do all these pageants. I'm just going to do one. And I did actually, no, I did 3. I did Mr. Teen KZN, I did Mr. Teen Rainbow Nation, and Mr. Teen, I can't remember years ago. I can't remember. So I did those 3, and then that led me to Mr. Teen World. Yeah.
That must have been an amazing experience for you.
I think more than anything, friend, it was the biggest learning curve of my entire life.
All right.
Because I grew up particularly quite a large child. Like, I'm talking about like
physically large?
Physically large. My entire
I can't
life.
see that.
No, I was huge. Like when I say huge, I mean I was huge. And I never had a sense of self-worth. Earlier you were talking about how confidence takes years to build.
Exactly.
Only once I done Mr. Teen World, I realized what confidence is. And why I say it was the biggest learning curve of my entire life was the fact that that's the point when I learned what real, authentic confidence is. And I think it sucks that I only learned that when I had lost weight.
Before, were you faking it to make it?
I didn't really have confidence. I was just loud. And I think if you're loud, people mistake that for being outspoken and confident.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
That is something that is very true that I've noticed. You get a lot of loud people who are actually deep down inside quite insecure, utilizing this. I know me personally, I've used humor as my shield.
People do that. And I think a lot of us do it unconsciously as well.
Yeah.
It's a guard that we have up without even trying. And my guard was just being loud. So that would mask myself from my insecurities and from what people would, people wouldn't be able to see it because of that. And I was hiding behind that wall, And when I did Mr. Teen World, I was working very hard with a personal trainer. I mean, it's a beauty pageant.
Yeah.
You need to give it your all. You need to physically look good.
There's a huge aesthetic side to it.
Huge. Even though there's a charity side and there's the speaking side, the way you present yourself, the main thing is aesthetics.
What do you mean a charity side?
With Mr. Teen KZN and a lot of South African pageants, your charity and what you stand for is a huge part of how you score at the pageant.
Okay.
Yeah, huge part of it. But Mr.
So
Teen World
essentially,
specific.
if people are linked specifically to causes, like I work with children's orphanages and da 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 da.
Very big. Look, everybody, when you're going to a national pageant and an international pageant, should have some sort of like cause they stand for. Either it's mental health, either it's children, either it's the elderly. Some cause, societal cause that you stand for. But charitable pageants are more so local pageants, like in your provinces.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying when you're going to a pageant like Mr. Teen World, it's very aesthetic, very aesthetic. So I had to lose the weight, and I'd worked really hard, and I lost 17 kgs
Oh wow.
in a space of less than a year, a very short space of time. Yeah, and in that time, it sucks because only after losing weight did I realize I was beautiful.
No, I feel that. I
And
totally
it
feel that.
sucks because why couldn't I have felt beautiful being who I was prior to losing weight?
But that's the world. That's the world telling you.
Exactly. Because I think only recently when the world discovered what mental health really is, and when conversations and discussions around mental health came to the forefront, did we realize that what actually matters is the person inside, who you
Exactly.
really are.
Exactly. Because like I know personally, and it's something that I was talking to you about earlier on.
Yeah.
As people, we try to just tick all of the boxes. We try to just ensure that, okay, cool, I have this part of my life sorted out. Okay, I'm in a relationship. Okay, I have the perfect job. I have all of this. But then you're not really thinking about what's going on inside. And unless you are truly happy for the fact that you're happy, you're not really leading the life that you
Not
want
at
to
all.
lead.
Not at all.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so this has been a great way to start.
Deep
the campaign.
conversations, yo. And that was like the beginning, the intro. Imagine, yo.
Like, I need to slow down right now. Like, this is amazing. So, what I want to go on to right now is getting yourself from the pageantry scene into television and media. How did that happen?
I think it was always the plan. Remember, pageantry was not the plan. Television and media and acting was always the plan. It's been on my vision board since I was 11, 12. I was after Mr. Teen World, and prior to it as well, I was hosting for this company called White Media Africa. And White Media Africa still exists. They are a media house, very small, but they're doing their thing. And back in the day, I would go on red carpets and interview like Jessica Nkosi, Nomzamo Mbata, Nasty C, big names,
Wow.
right? Brenda Mhlongo, like huge names on red carpets, like the Crown Gospel Music Awards, Essence Festival. So I had gotten a flair for presenting around then. I didn't really think it was what I wanted at the time because what had always been the plan was acting and emceeing.
Okay.
But acting, emceeing, and presenting are in a way linked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So only once I'd gotten that experience on those red carpets did I realize, okay, you know, presenting is kind of what I want to do. It's so refreshing to go in front of camera and just talk, just be yourself, and then that be your job. You know?
Don't you love the experience of interacting with other people and understanding about their lives?
I've always been a people's person. I think you as well.
Yeah.
It's very evident. And I've always loved talking to people. I think the greatest asset to a presenter is being a people's person. If you naturally like talking to people, presenting will come naturally to you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I've always wanted to. Always wanted to. And what I wanted to do was champion conversations around mental health. Champion conversations where people, when they talk to me, they can just open up like how we're doing now. So I've always had a mission and vision with my presenting career.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That is amazing. All right, so acting was always the plan, all right? But now, one of the great things about It's Not Common Sense is that we want to try to use this as a platform to teach kids, okay? A lot of people want to do the things that you do, but they don't even know where they must put in that grind. You put in years and years of work, you sent out the auditions, but what is step one for a young performer right now who wants to be a presenter performer?
First things first, before even contacting agencies, before talking to anyone, getting managers, even looking for auditions, own your craft. Because once people get signed to an agency, they start booking jobs, they start auditioning, they don't even know what their craft is. Yes, you can act. Yes, you can present. Yes, you can be confident in front of a camera and on stage. But do you own your craft authentically? First steps first, own your craft, know your worth, and then present your worth to an agency. So many people always ask, and I know all the YoTV presenters get asked this, what agency do I go to? It's as simple as this. Do your research. We all have the internet. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3, searching up agencies near me. There are an incredible list of agencies in Johannesburg, in Durban, and Cape Town. In smaller cities, I'm not so sure, but in those 3 places, definitely. So the next step would then, after owning your craft, go to an agency and present your worth as a performer.
Okay. So owning your craft, that's something that I always try to explain to people, is that this isn't like a simple thing. It's going to be years and years of you working on it. One of the things that I really enjoyed you saying was, own your craft and do it authentically. You are not just a person who is creating an image of a presenter. I have to be this bold person. I feel like you put the flair of, I am Diolan into it. And that's something that you've developed over years, correct?
Only recently.
Really?
Honestly, when I got into YoTV, I still thought presenting was putting on this character like, good morning, welcome to the show, no.
I hate that voice. And I keep trying to explain it to people, but it's a thing.
It's a thing. and I still do it. I still do it from time to time because it's unconsciously. Until I trained in presenting with some of the best in the industry and it was brought to my attention. And sometimes it comes off like, oh my gosh, you're trying too hard. When in actual fact, you don't even realize that you're putting on this persona. You shouldn't become a person. You shouldn't become a persona. Just be yourself. And when I've asked some of the biggest presenters and some of the most successful people, seasoned presenters in our industry, what is your key? It's authenticity. Because there's been Bonang, there's been Boiti, there's been Amanda DuPont, there's been name after name after name. I mean, if we look everywhere now, friend, there is influencer upon influencer, actor upon actor, famous person and verified people everywhere across the world.
Social media has blown it up.
So what makes you different? What makes you different? And why should people follow you? Why should people invest in your craft, your career, and your journey? And that all comes down to everybody has something that someone else can't offer. That's your authenticity.
That is amazing. And that comes back to that whole thing of having that confidence within yourself. Understanding that you're beautiful, understanding that you're intelligent, understanding that you have something to bring to the table. That is amazing.
And if you don't believe it, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am hot, I am gorgeous, I am sexy. Like, I am sexy. And then you'll feel it.
You will.
Affirmations, exactly.
That is amazing. I love the fact that you brought up affirmations. A lot of people don't talk about that. There's a reason why The Secret was a successful book. Like, for me, I find that with my life, I have to set myself very, very, very strict goals for myself to manifest.
Really?
So I'll have an idea. Like, for me, like, I'll tell you, when I started film school, when I went to AFTA, I said to myself, and this is going to sound ridiculous. I was at UCT. And
you had UCT?
Yeah, I was studying chartered accounting.
So was Kale with you as well?
Diolan Govender.
Yeah, because I saw that on your episode with him, he also did accounting.
No. He did it here at Howard College.
Oh, okay. So you had UCT.
Yeah, I was at UCT full ride studying chartered accounting. And I hated it. I hated every single aspect of it. And I would constantly skip economics to watch Entourage. And Entourage is this TV series where this guy goes from being the manager of a pizzeria to being the top producer in the world.
Sure.
And I'd be mixing like Entourage with Geordie Shore, and then I was like, okay.
How do you go from success to Geordie Shore? How do you go from that to that?
So I'm like, it was ridiculous. So I'm like torrenting Geordie Shore and Entourage, and I'm like cycling between these two TV shows, and I say to myself, like, I know this is a ridiculous story. I say to myself, I really want to be a producer for MTV. I want to produce a reality TV show. And what I didn't realize is that all the time I was studying it after, all the time I was doing ridiculous 500 Rand music video shoots and shooting people's weddings and everything and hustling incrementally on all of these jobs, I had that at the back of my mind. And that is what led me to where eventually I was a producer on an MTV TV show.
It manifested.
Do you know what I'm saying? But then that goes straight into the next topic that I'm going to hop into. You get there and you have the job, and now this is something I want to ask you about. And it's not what you thought it was. And this happened to me, and it was so confusing. It was so jarring because I got there and I was like, this is the dream that I've always had, but it's nothing like what I thought. And it's not the fun that I'd hoped that it would be. Did you experience something like that?
In a sense. See, I'm a very formal, hello, the way I present myself, everybody has the way they present themselves and the way they, show themselves to the world. And I'm very formal in doing so, And when I got onto YoTV, my presenting at the time was super formal. Very top billing, very espresso, very red carpet. And YoTV took a chance on me, and I'm so grateful. I will always be grateful on that. But when I got on YoTV, even though knowing it is a kids' fun teen show, I'd still done my formal presenting, presented myself in that way because that's all I knew.
That's what you were at that
Yeah.
point.
And it took me time to adjust. But I wouldn't say at the time it was not what I expected. Because I had the time of that was the best chapter of my entire life. Hands down, friend, like properly hands down. I didn't realize though, what a toll it would take on my mental health.
Okay.
And not because of the crew, not because of the production, not because of anybody, but because of myself. The pressure I had put on myself to perform higher than what humans should perform at. Self-pressure is the killer of it all. And I would sabotage myself to be like, if I'm not performing at the standard I want to, should I even be here? Do I even deserve this?
Wow.
So in a sense, yes, I did experience that, but more so all in here and nothing else to do with anyone around me.
No, I totally understand that. You're the type of person who always strives for some form of greatness. You always want to be doing things at the pinnacle. And if you're not doing it at the pinnacle, why are you doing it at all?
At all. And it doesn't help that I have high functioning anxiety and OCD, like severe. And OCD stems from being a perfectionist, in many senses. So being a perfectionist is a blessing and a curse in disguise. Because you're trying to always strive for this level of perfection that is not achievable at all. So I think it definitely stemmed from that. And I'm only realizing now that the way I am authentically is not even more than enough. It's amazing. And that's all I should ever be.
Exactly. Okay, so then do you find that that form of self-affirmation, that was the thing that got you out of that? Because if we had to, because here's the thing, that OCD nature, that is something that assists, that is something that drives you. But how do you help yourself get over the negative aspects of it and continue to move on? How do you get through that hump that tells you, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this to the point that I want to do it. I need to stop right now. How do you push yourself past that point?
It's a very hard question to answer. If we're talking specifically, I talked earlier about the self-sabotage, telling yourself you're not meant to be here, why are you here, you're not good enough, all of those things. It all comes down to gratitude. Let's take YoTV, for example. When I was having those internal feelings of, am I good enough? Should I be here? Everyone else on the team is so incredible. Am I as good as them? It all comes down to gratitude. Because so many thousands of kids grew up dreaming that they would be on YoTV, and here I am, made it on YoTV, presenting every single Friday to hundreds of thousands of people watching at home. I got the chance. The team gave me the chance. God gave me the chance. It all comes down to being grateful for what you have.
That's amazing.
Sometimes the things you achieve in life itself is greater than anything that you feel.
Yeah, and we never take a moment to stop and count our blessings.
We don't.
Yeah.
At all. And it's all comes down to, at the end of the day, looking back where you came from in comparison to where you are now. Because we don't ever realize, we don't ever realize that we've come so far. We think, we haven't done enough.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot.
Because we never compete with ourselves. We're always trying to compete with other people.
And the people we should be competing with is the person we were yesterday, not you, not your friend, not the person next to you, not your colleague, the person who you were yesterday. But we forget that.
Exactly. Yeah, one of the things that I find that people never understand is that your idol, the person you admire the most, the person you thinks life is amazing, they have the exact same pains as you.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's even worse. Like, one of the most surprising things for me in terms of when I started working with celebrities is that I would be meeting top celebrities in South Africa, and I'd find them so unhappy.
Really?
I would find them impeccably unhappy in their lives.
Like, in a sense of you would see them and they would look unhappy, or you would feel that they look great, they look happy, but deep down they're not?
The latter.
Okay.
Because you could see that it's just like, okay, cool, I'm putting on this image and all that kind of stuff. But once you notice how much of their lives are driven by expectation, then it starts to get really sad. Like when you start hearing about how, oh no, if I have a last minute flight, I have to fly first class, even if it's going to cost me 20,000 Rand, because if people see me in economy, they're going to think I'm poor, and then this is going to happen. Oh no, I can't date this guy who I like because he's not in the industry. And even though I really like him, he has to sneak into the apartment at night because the security guards will tell the Sunday Times. You know? So then you see like things like that where it's like you can't live the life that you want to live because of the expectation from the outside world. And that's what I find is one of the more difficult things about the media industry. And that's one of the things that I worried about even going into this podcast, is from this point onwards, my life is permanently changed. I am in some way within the limelight, and I'm some way...
You're a celebrity, friend. You're a celebrity. Recognize it. Believe it. No, but seriously, if you believe it and feel it, it will manifest. It will happen. Also, can we just take a second to talk about... Guys, please never date people in the industry. Just don't. Like, stop it. No, stop it. No. Just don't do it. Every time, firstly, it's normally a PR stunt. And you would only find out later on that they were using you for PR. I was ashamed. That's why I'm like, no, stick to behind the scenes, people working in other industries. Want happiness. Don't date entertainment people, please, no.
I've seen people literally go, we should date. I think it would be really good. Our brands are close to each other.
Like in front of you.
I've literally seen it happen. Like I've seen them go, no, I really think that it's a good idea. It would be great. We don't even have to do anything. Like it was insane. It was insane. And like you see a couple, they'll take pictures and everything in front of the people, and then they'll go backstage and they're on phones and they're not even talking to each other.
It's a lot for PR. And I've always had like this idea of me walking a red carpet looking like with like someone in the industry. Yeah. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying, talking from experience, date behind the scenes. People who are not in the industry, do not do it, please. Don't do it. No, don't.
Oh my gosh. And it just doesn't work out because everybody finds out about everything.
Also, I feel like, jealousy and eyes is a big thing. Look at many people in the industry. I mean, if we take Connie Ferguson and Shauna Ferguson, they were an incredible couple. I think one of the only couples who really had real love, and both were at the forefront. May his soul rest in peace. Other than that, I really can't pinpoint many people in our industry who had real love.
That is true. That is completely true. Yeah, I'm really genuinely trying to think about it right now. There's a lot of tragedies going on.
It's a lot. I think our industry has had just one knock after the other from COVID. And it affects so many other people. I mean, let's take COVID, for example, right? Like, I booked the show. Not booked. I would say nearly booked the show. Soapy and all of these things. And we were waiting to hear, if I got the role, if I not. We got great feedback from the team and casting director and producer. And we were waiting to hear, did I get the show? And it would have been my first soapy, right? And and it's always been a dream to be on a soapy. But the show had shut down 3 weeks to COVID, and they've had COVID issues since. I'm talking, this is from like March times. Since then, over and over and over. People have died. Shows had to recast, rewrite. Families have just lost people. Our industry has just taken knock after knock with COVID.
It's been absolutely terrible. It's been absolutely terrible. I have to hope that after this whole thing like calms down, we're gonna bounce back.
We'll have to see. I think, you know what's the worst part as well, apart from people passing on and we losing legends day in and day out, is that people don't have a livelihood. They're not being paid,
Exactly.
especially in entertainment.
Exactly. I know I found myself like during COVID, I think it was something ridiculous, like 8 to 10 months. No work at all.
At all.
No work at all. Because I work
Sure.
majority with musicians. So musicians, nobody's going to be making music videos. Nobody's making content during this period of time. So it was just, it was completely dry. We did a few like live streams, like of those Twitch live streams, but otherwise it was completely dry. It was terrible. And I know people who, right before COVID hit, they were like, okay, I'm going to leave my job and become a freelancer. I'll make way more money.
Did it work out for them?
No. But now they're back. Now they're good. But like as it hit, it was horrible. It was terrible.
I think it also just took time for people to get used to how to work in a COVID-friendly climate, you know? Because not just in terms of being COVID-friendly, in terms of, you know, sanitizing, masking, social distancing, in terms of the working world changed completely. So I think it took everyone in our sector and in many other sectors to get used to that.
Exactly. Exactly. Working from home is a thing.
Oh, I love it.
It's a crazy
Pajamas and then a formal top. I'll do it any day. That's my vibe. Yesterday in the morning, I had this incredible PR meeting, right? And I was like dressed properly formal and then had warm shoes on and a blanket. Most comfortable thing ever. So working from home is my thing.
Oh my gosh, I find my productivity is just not as good. I love going into an office.
Really?
I know it's weird. Yeah, because so little of my life has been working in an office. I'm a first AD and a producer, so I'm always on set. So then when I'm in an office, it's nice, it's calm. Like, I get my coffee, I just sit behind that laptop and I grind. When I'm at home, I want to relax. I want to play music in the background. I want to watch stuff. But anyway, I'm getting beside myself. So earlier on, you were chatting to me about something that I thought was super interesting. You're studying media studies right now, but you do have hopes of getting behind the camera too and working as a producer and a director. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'm currently doing a BA General. I do media studies, anthropology, and sociology. So why I took that degree was media studies has film and television, but a BA General allows me to do several things. So I would get experience in the theory side of film and television, producing a bit of directing, a bit of that. And then I would get, you know, cultural society, the side of that in my degree as well. So working into PR, into HR. So I took that degree so I would get all of that in one. So when I come out, I would work in PR, HR, and use my knowledge in media, film, television, advertising, marketing to take me into a bit of producing and directing.
Okay.
I think I told you earlier as well, what's incredible is that for people who aspire after being artists in front of the scenes, that when you become a director and producer, you know how it feels on both sides.
Exactly.
In front of the camera and behind the camera. So you know exactly how to treat your artist as a director, how an artist would want to be treated.
One of the things I was saying is that you understand how to handle that vulnerability.
And that's the most important thing for an artist.
Because, sadly, I have acted before.
You've acted?
Really badly.
When? How long ago was this?
This was like obviously film school stuff. You're at film school. People are
Yeah.
going to ask you to just like do a role or two. And
Yeah.
I remember there was one day I was producing a film and one of our super important like supporting like characters wasn't there, so I had to do the entire
Step in, yeah.
oh my gosh, it was horrible.
I want to see this
Oh
so
my
badly.
gosh. And like the thing with me is that I have this face where it's like I know that I'm on camera, so I'm like, what's happening, Jacob?
I get
was,
you.
It was
I get
completely
you.
terrible. But the thing that was most difficult for me was the fact that I felt so vulnerable. I was like, how do I look? Oh my gosh, everybody's here. I have to perform in this space. And a lot of directors, I don't know. One of the things that I have to say about like working as a filmmaker is that it's not like ordering food. You can't just say, hey dude, do this. You need to coach that performance out of your performers. Specifically when you're doing like drama and things like that, you need to bring the emotion out of them. So like, I really do feel like that's something that'll help you a lot in terms of your working as a director and a producer.
I think also me having, I mean, all of us have experience with mental health, but as a performer, being in front of the scenes and behind the scenes, apart from understanding the vulnerability of the performer, the actor, the presenter, you understand the pressure they put on themselves.
Oh, exactly.
And then you know how to coach them according to that as well. And to make them feel comfortable. Because then you can use their vulnerability as a strength and not a weakness.
Oh, exactly. Wow, that is amazing, actually. Okay, that is, wow.
Pearls of wisdom from both of us today. Pearls of wisdom.
Pearls of absolute wisdom. Okay. So yeah, we are actually running a bit out of time right now.
Already?
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
It's crazy. Yeah, we've rolled straight through this. We're at like the 35-minute mark.
Oh my gosh.
So, kind of, I really love the messages that you were saying about mental health, but if you were to give a message to young performers right now, what would that be? What would be your lasting statement to people?
Whenever I'm asked that question, it's quite tricky because there's a lot I want to say. Because not just performers, but everyone's been going through so much recently. So much. It's actually insane to see how far people have come with their mental health, how much they've overcome. But if there's anything I can tell anyone, friend, it's you're exactly where you need to be. You're not too far ahead. You're not too behind. You're exactly where you need to be. And it's so hard to understand that when you going through your day-to-day life, to understand, what will happen if it's meant to be. We can't force things. You can't force relationships. You can't force things to happen. What's meant to happen will happen in God's timing, in timing that's meant for you. And when it happens, you look back and say, wow, this is happening at a time that is perfect for me. And now I understand why it took so long. I've been here for 7 years. I only landed my first show last year, 7 years after starting my career. It took me all that time. But when I got onto YoTV, I took a moment to sit back and think, it's finally here. Here's my chance. Here's my big break. And I realized in that moment that timing was perfect. So if there's anything I would ever tell anyone, you're exactly where you're meant to be right now.
Wow. That is amazing. You drove this entire interview. Yes. You are incredible. You are incredible. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really feel like this is going to be an interview that's going to inspire a lot of people. I really feel like there's a lot you said here that's going to help a lot of people too. A lot of people who are going through a lot of things right now. A lot of people feel like they're not good enough. And a lot of us have to get over that to become performers. And a lot of us have to learn to love ourselves. And I just really think that the strength that you show every single day and the fact that you're still a nice person.
Thank you, friend. Thank you.
Do you know what I'm saying? The fact that you're a genuine nice person. I mean, because I have to say, this podcast isn't a huge platform, but you were willing to come here and you were like, I'm going to showcase my story here because you're a real person who wants to give out an actual true representation to this world. And I think that that's beautiful, and I think that that's something that a lot of people do not do. So yeah, just thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for asking me, and thank you so much for having me. There's one thing I want to tell you. I have told you this outside, and I think you have done incredibly well. And I think this is only the beginning for you, friend. That time I met you as well, I told you everyone there from that first shoot day, we all had that photo shoot. I can't remember the school, but we had that photo shoot. Everybody, Eden College, everybody there has just soared so incredibly well. And to watch your journey, you working with MTV, with Black Coffee, such big names, this is honestly just the beginning for you.
Thank you so much.
It's the beginning.
It's amazing to hear that. Sometimes you really need to.
Definitely. You need to.